Alright, I just want to start by saying I'm sorry. So it was about a year ago, I picked you up off the Target clearance aisle and I used the Magic Cabinet to bring you to life. Only to increase the audience numbers at the Jillies Award Show. To be honest with you, I kind of forgot you were still around here in LumberJillville.
Die.
But hey, no worries, I'm making up for lost time. And due to me being a horrible mayor to y'all, I thought I'd do something special for y'all today. In honor of the Cora Jade Elite review, I'm going to teach y'all how to skate. Check it out behind me. Pretty awesome, huh? Now, I do appreciate y'all wearing the helmets I supplied, even though some of you are wearing them better than others. Safety is always first. Alright, so next up, I'm going to show you some tricks on my board, and then you're going to show me if you can do them too. Farooq, are you seriously licking your board? Oh, this is going to be way harder than I thought. Oh.
What are you and the Three Stooges up to?
Oh, hey Comer Alexa. First off, that is not very nice. These are the Farooqs, and you probably remember them from last year's Jillies Award Show. Or you don't remember them at all, but either way, I am going to teach them how to skate today.
You? Ha! You can't skate. If anyone is going to teach them, it should be me.
Oh, come on now, I'm sure I'll do a fine job. Plus, you can't even skate, bro!
Oh yeah, watch this. Give me your board.
Oh, not that one. He kinda licked that one. Alright, homie. Skate park's behind me. Let's see what you got. Oh. Did you guys see that?
Die.
Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now before we get started, I just want to remind you to please hit subscribe to become an official resident of LJV and get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, like today's very exciting review of Elite Series 107 Cora Jade, her first in the line figure. It's been a long time coming. I actually made a list of my most wanted figures in 2023. And this very exact Cora in elite form in this attire was on my list, so I'm just floored that we actually got it. Now, I also wanted to say I have a lot, and I mean a lot, of brand new women's wrestling figures coming out within the next week. Tons of orders are shipping, so I'm just glad I got the Cora first so we can take a look at this. Now, with that being said, let's take a closer look at this figure, and let's start off with the packaging. Alright, so the first thing you're going to notice with this packaging is we do have that little yellow strip that says first time in the line. That is something that for some reason they did not include on the Roxanne Perez Elite. Definitely an oversight. She doesn't have that even though this is her first in the line figure. But either way, I'm glad that they did include it on the Cora. Now we have an image of the beautiful Cora Jade on the side depicting the attire that the figure is in. On the side we have that same image blown up. And on the other side, we have just her name along with first time in the line there with the yellow strip. And on the back here, we have NXT's resident mean girl showed her true colors after smashing her trademark skateboard over her former best friend and tag team partner, Roxanne Perez, when she turned on Roxanne. So, yeah, this packaging is that new style. And I say new style, I have reviewed it a couple times on the channel, but we just started seeing this toward the end of 2023. And it's just flimsy. I mean, the cardboard is so flimsy. It is so frail. And obviously, we have a big problem on the front here where that window size is just really small, super small. Now, I did think if they're going to decrease the window size, that'd be nice if they would use this space under here to move the extra hands, you know, to make it a little more toyetic as far as the MOC version goes. But nope, we have everything in the window so we can see what we're getting. So yeah, that's a little frustrating. Not a huge fan of this packaging. But with that being said, let's open it up. And I think the best way to open it up, I found, is just by cutting the tape on top. You know what? Let's try doing that. Let's just only cut the tape on top and let's see what happens. So we did that, and then it slides right out. So that's all you have to do to get this figure out. So I'm going to get this figure out, and we'll come back. WWE Elite Series 107, Cora Jade. This attire is from NXT Deadline 2022, which took place on December 10th. On this night, Cora would participate in the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge to determine the #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Roxanne Perez would come out victorious in this match, out-surviving Cora, Indy Hartwell, Kiana James, and Zoe Stark. So my overall first impressions of this figure are freaking awesome. I mean, there's a lot of detail and care that went into this figure, but we are starting 2024 off with a bang. And yes, this is the first women's wrestling figure review of 2024, so she will not be eligible for the 2023 Jilly Award for Women's Wrestling Figure of the Year. Just a heads up, because I did get her in 2024. But yeah, this is a great way to start the year, and this just gets me excited for what's coming this year as far as women's wrestling figures, because this figure is so cool. There's so much detail, so much love and care went into this figure, and I love seeing that. I love the uniqueness of this figure. Now, obviously, we are going to break this figure down piece by piece, part by part, but first off, let's just take a quick look at the accessories. So she comes packaged with her heavy metal hands here. I almost did that. That's not it. Heavy metal hands. And she also comes with some semi-grasping hands so she can hold the kendo stick. Now, the kendo stick is a really nice inclusion here. I'm actually really excited to pose her, maybe for the thumbnail. We'll see how it looks. Holding this over her shoulder. We got this black kendo stick with a little yellow design on there. It looks really cool. And then she has this hat. Now, this hat is really cool. It's got little raised spikes all over it, and then just a flat brim. Now, this was used previously in a Nikki Bella Basic. I believe it was Basic Series 52. We got that same hat, and it works. You know, I was wondering if they reshaped or sculpted a new hat for this Cora, but it is a re-release of that hat that came with that Nikki, and I think it works perfect. I think it looks great, and it actually feels a little more pliable than the previous one, so it fits on her head nicely and it looks freaking awesome. So yeah, I think her accessories are super cool, but obviously there's a lot more to explore on this figure, so let's take a closer look at that face and hair. Alright, so as far as the face sculpt, face scan, and hair sculpt goes, there's a lot of good here. Now, I am going to say, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the shape of the face, but I feel like the face sculpt is a little bit off. Now, it's not too far off because certain angles that we get, it looks just like Cora. Like, that looks just like Cora. That looks pretty good. And then we kind of lose that Cora appearance here. And then on this side, kind of, somewhat. I don't know. You know, it's her first figure, so it is what it is, but I do think the sculpt might be a little bit off. And I say the sculpt because the scan looks beautiful. I think the scan is awesome. Let's see if we can go in a little bit. You can see eye makeup going around the eyes, some eyeshadow. We see her long eyelashes. Those are printed on there beautifully. Her eyebrows even look great. As crazy as that sounds, if you look at the eyebrows, there's a lot of detail that went into those, and that's cool. We also have the inclusion of her lip piercing, which is awesome. And it looks like the lips are a little bit shiny, so you can kind of see that they put like a lipstick on her. Now, as far as the hair goes, the hair sculpt is unique. We have the straight hair going down, goes all the way in the back, a couple strands over the shoulders, and we have this really unique detail of blonde highlights in the front. Now, I looked at both of them because I got two of these, and both of them kind of had the same type pattern of the blonde in the front, and it looks kind of bizarre. I don't know if they made it look that way, kind of streaky to look more realistic, or what, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to look like that. You can tell that they kind of screen printed that paint on there, and it looks a little bit off, but like I said, it almost adds to the realism, especially when you're looking at it from a distance like there. It looks more realistic that way, so But yeah, as far as the face and hair goes, I think the hair's really cool. I do dig that blonde highlight in the front. I think that looks good, even though it's not perfect. And as far as the face goes, I can't put my finger on it. It's just like the Roxanne Perez review, where I think it's a good likeness, but it's not perfect, right? So there's something off here. I think it might be the face shape. I'm not sure. But yeah, we look at that side, doesn't look like Cora. And then we look over here, looks like Cora. So yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but it's their first attempt on Cora, and I think it's a fine job. So moving on down to the body sculpt and the attire. Now the first thing I noticed is they gave her an awesome tan. And this is a big deal because a lot of times with the women's wrestling figures, they don't include the proper tans. It gets overlooked. It took them a long time to actually include the proper tans for their men's figures. So it's nice to see that we have a women's figure that has a proper tan and the skin tone looks excellent here. I think the part choices are all great. Looks really, really cool. Now, obviously what stands out here is the attire and also the tattoo detail because there's so much going on. It's so intricate and I'm so freaking glad that this was made in elite form. This was, as I mentioned, one of my most wanted figures in 2023. Didn't know if it would happen, and here it is in front of me, so I'm just ecstatic to have it here. So the first thing I'm going to point out as far as like the tattoo details go is I looked at my other one in package, and this elbow's a little messed up there. It looks like it's a little gnawed on. I don't know what's going on. It's like flaking, and I think it's because when she's packaged like this. And the other figure that I have mint on card kind of looks like that. And it's almost like it kind of over time wears the plastic away. I don't know. But if you get this Cora Jade, make sure you check out that left elbow joint. Also the right on the anterior aspect. And see if you have any of this flaking or peeling. Because that's a bit of an eyesore. But either way, I digress. So looking at the tattoo detail, we do have some on this left forearm there. Kind of hard to tell with that flaking of the skin. On the right arm, I mean, look at all this tattoo detail. Nobody does it better than Mattel with their tattoos. It is the perfect tone, the perfect shade. It looks super realistic. We have the skull and design on the forearm, and up here we have a real intricate design with some hands. We have any other tattoo detail here? Okay, what we do have is we have a lot of sculpting going on this top. So this top has this barbed wire design, and I was under the impression that this barbed wire was just going to be painted on the torso, but I'm happy to say it's actually a sculpted piece, y'all. This is a sculpted piece on the torso. It looks super good, super great. And like I said, a lot of images I saw, it looked painted, but here it's actually sculpted. Now looking at her top, we also have that barbed wire kind of sculpted on the top here. We have a lot of sculpting as far as the straps go and the designs. A lot of raised patterns here with the rivets. We have this red base color with black, and we also have white trim. And then we have this really cool design on the side. Let me try to zoom in here. This barbed wire design on the side, which is really intricately painted, and it looks excellent. Now, raising her hair up, we have the straps on the back, more sculpting, and then we have this really cool design that goes all the way around. Moving on down to her midsection here, we have her belly button ring. That's a really cool inclusion. I'm really glad they included that. We don't see that all the time, but we have seen that in the past, and it's nice when they actually include that. The bottoms are just painted on, but they work really well. We have this nice red design here with a lot of paint detail. Not a lot of sculpting in these bottoms, but a lot of paint detail to make up for it. And this design goes all over. We have Generation of Jade on the back side there. Moving on down, we have her knee pads painted on. They're painted over, and I think that works really well. If they were actual knee pads that were painted, they'd be too bulky, too thick. I think these look really, really cool. And just look at them. I mean, just look at all the detail we got on both of these knee sleeves, I guess we'll call them, that they painted on. They just look excellent. And then the boots themselves are unique, and what's cool is not only is there a lot of sculpting on here of the straps, but there's the barbed wire painted all the way around multiple times on both boots. Now, the one thing I will say is the foot joint here in the ankle is just a basic style of foot and ankle. It just goes up and down. It doesn't rock side to side, so that's a little disappointing, but it's not really a deal breaker because as a whole, this body sculpt and attire, I mean, it might be... It's definitely top 5 of all time as far as part choices, overall design, and execution because they did an amazing job here, and I absolutely love it. And what a surprise this was because I could have sworn from images this barbed wire was just painted on, but it's sculpted on. Beautiful. Perfect. All right, let's do a little articulation here. So as far as her head goes, She has decent head articulation looking down, not really looking up, not much right, not much left, due to the hair sculpt, obviously. The shoulders on a ball joint can move in all different directions. We have an upper arm swivel. We have double jointed elbows, and as I mentioned, it was packaged super flexed, and that kind of caused a little bit of the plastic to get bent. We have an upper torso swivel, can move in all different directions. Her wrist can extend, it can flex, and it can also swivel. She has a waist swivel. Her leg is on a ball joint here. She can move in all different directions. She has an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees she can really flex. She has an upper boot swivel, and then her foot can just go down and up. So I just had to put these two figures next to each other because when I think of Roxanne, I think of Cora. When I think of Cora, I think of Roxanne. They had a pretty dang good team and partnership and friendship in NXT, but an even better rivalry when Cora turned on her. Now, anyone that watches the channel probably knows by now that NXT is my favorite product out there, and the NXT Women's Division is by far my favorite division. Right behind this sheet, I have a whole shelf of NXT Women's figures, and it's not often we get NXT Women's Elites, right? Usually they're included in the basic line. So to have two amazing women in that amazing division in elite form and released back-to-back, I'm just super happy. I'm super thrilled. And like I said, I'm excited to see what 2024 brings because these two elites are awesome. And I want to see more NXT women included in the elite line. But here's what they look like next to each other. If you ask me, they look pretty freaking awesome. So overall, I give WWE Elite Series 107 Cora Jade an overall score of a 9.8 out of 10. This figure is amazing. It is near perfection. I am so glad that they made this figure in elite form. And as I mentioned, this is on my wish list for most wanted figures. Not just her, but this attire specifically for 2023. I didn't get it in 2023, but close enough. First figure review of 2024, and it starts out with a bang. I mean, I can't say enough good about this figure. I think it's a beautiful figure. Everything about it just stands out and has uniqueness to it. And the only reason it's not a perfect 10 is that sculpt. Like I said, I think the scan's good. And the hair's good. But I think the facial sculpt, the shape, might be a little bit off, and maybe that's where it's a little bit lost in translation there. It's not horrible. It's not bad. It's not Elite 88 Trish Stratus. Not even close to that. But something's a little bit off. I said the same thing about Roxanne, and I say the same thing with Cora, that something's a wee bit off. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty good for what it is. But in my opinion, I think this is 100% worth going to ringsidecollectibles.com, use coupon code LJV at checkout to save 10%, and to get this figure. I wouldn't wait until it hit the stores. I would go on Ringside now and get this figure because I definitely think it's worth it. I love this figure. It is going to be hard to top in 2024. Thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. For a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident of LJV today. As I mentioned, head on over to ringsidecollectibles.com and use coupon code LJV at checkout to save 10% on your next order of women's wrestling figures. Now stay tuned. I have literally 4 brand new women's wrestling figures coming to LumberJillville on their way, so there's going to be a lot of reviews. We have Ultimate Edition Series 20 Asuka, which looks amazing. We have Basic Series 144 BFAB, which friend of the channel BFAB. And then we have Basic 145 Tiffany Stratton, which surprisingly shipped out even before 144. We also have that Showdown 2-pack, I think Series 16 Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan. So we have all those figures coming to LumberJillville very soon, and those reviews will be up ASAP. Now I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. Thanks for watching, and have a great night, y'all.